Good evening and welcome to a very special episode of An Echo of Glory. I say very special, but my colleague Jake Sanders tells me it's not that special because indeed 7% of all shows this year have been welcoming new managers. Is that right, Jake?
Correct. So we've been here before.
Been here once or twice.
Nothing new. We've had this feeling previously and I'm sure we'll have it again.
Oh, hang on. Technical issues already?
Just hiding your beautiful face.
I'm sure we'll have it again, as we were just saying before James moved my mic.
So here we are. So tonight it is myself and Jake joining you from Launchport Studios for, it is a special show because we are going to have a first of the season and indeed for An Echo of Glory. Jake and I are going to discuss the goings on at White Hart Lane over the last sort of few days. And then we're going to open the floor to our listeners with a live phone in, which James assures me is going to put the details out for, but I don't know where they are. So keep an eye on that. But it might work, it might not. We've never done it before. We'll see how it goes. But listen, firstly, club news. And Archie Gray, England under-21, scored a bit of a screamer, you said.
Yeah, lovely goal, yeah.
Yeah, and
Qualifier.
And Jamie Donnelly also scoring for Northern Ireland against Wales tonight. That's the club
Good
news.
to
Let's
see
go
the
on.
youngsters, yeah. Good to see him doing well.
Yeah, indeed. Right, let's get into it. So, Jake, post-Forest, you left the ground.
I didn't leave the ground.
You didn't leave.
I was
the
at a
ground.
wedding.
Oh, that's right. You were at a wedding. You said it was either going to be a great day or a dreadful
I
day.
left the hotel room and went straight into the ceremony, and it was.
At what point did we go one down in the wedding?
I watched. No, I didn't watch. Sorry, I was in a taxi on the way there for the first half, and because of the magnitude of the game, I thought I don't need the added stress to watch it. So I patiently waited next to my phone.
Yeah.
Arrived, went to greet my wife. As I opened the door, we conceded, which was lovely. And then I watched the second half on my own in my suit in a hotel room, thinking Spurs takes you to some weird places.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And then I went straight down to the ceremony, and it was hard. You know what it's like post Spurs defeat. It's hard, but this was harder.
That one in particular, wasn't it?
It was just hard to stomach, and it wasn't pleasant.
Where did you? Obviously, you're at a wedding, so you've got to kind of put it to the back of your mind. But when you had a chance to think back and reflect on it, we've just been beat 3-0 to Forest, one of the two closest relegation rivals, in a must-win game. Where were your thoughts and feelings about what's now at that point?
In terms of the manager or in terms of the bigger picture?
Anything, generally.
Well, it was so quickly what happened to Tudor's dad, obviously, which is obviously shocking. You knew it couldn't continue. A combination of that, he's got to think of himself, and his family, and that result was so bad, and the performance was so bad for the last hour that I knew it was over. And then, in terms of a manager, I just didn't know. I remember speaking to you 2 days ago, and I was like, there is just no way we're going to get De Zerbi. Because I just thought it was impossible that we went down a permanent route.
Yeah.
So it was one of those situations where everyone goes, who do you want? Who do you want? And you sort of, you list everyone, and you say, no, don't want any of them.
Yeah, correct.
Don't want Sherwood, don't want this one, don't want Mason.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. And in terms of staying up or not, I thought that was it. I looked at the fixtures. I know we've got possibly some winnable games. I still think I still not got much hope. But maybe this has slightly turned things potentially. But I think it's worth mentioning that, however much people do or don't rate De Zerbi, we're still in this same position. And, until we win a football match, it is doom and gloom. However we play, whatever De Zerbi says, however he's, on the touchline, we're still in the same situation. Maybe I would have felt different if we'd got him in when we got Tudor in and we had 12 games and a little bit of wriggle room.
Yeah.
7 games.
Not a lot, is it?
Whatever we all think of De Zerbi, good, bad, next season, we got jobs to do now.
Yeah.
And there is not a single game to waste.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think if we sort of wind back a bit before we get into De Zerbi himself, coming out of that Forest game was as dejected as I have felt as a Spurs fan ever. And I think it was the first time in my Tottenham supporting life. And I've been down to Selhurst Park when we played Wimbledon and we needed to win that. But it was the first time leaving Tottenham that I really sort of started to consider the possibility. Because up until Forest, I had in my head, I just don't think we're going down. I sort of withdrew from society for a couple of days after that because I couldn't quite believe, I was reconciling in my head that we're going down. I didn't imagine at that point. It was clear that Tudor was going to go.
Yeah.
And as you say, with his dad passing as well, you start thinking about the impact that had on Conte, I think it was, when that happened and he went completely off the rails and whatnot. Like, it wasn't tenable for Tudor to stay at that point. But because I'd gone into the game with such positivity, I really felt against Liverpool and then against Atletico Madrid, I really felt that we were turning a corner. I really felt I was seeing something. And even in the first 30, 40 minutes against Forest, I sat there and I was like, we're playing the game in their half. We're controlling them. We weren't doing much.
Yeah.
We weren't creating much. We didn't look dangerous. But they were doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and then for it to fall apart like that and suddenly you're in a position where actually, shit, we're going down. Like, I really was... I don't think... It felt as hard a kicking as I've ever taken as a Spurs fan, and I withdrew literally from society for a couple of days. And then it starts sort of, it's clear that Tudor's going. In fact, I think the news broke, didn't it? That even a week before he actually went, all the rumours started circulating. He's gone already.
Well, they were obviously waiting on a human level.
Yeah, on a human level and quite possibly as well until they were very close to being able to announce the new manager. What they didn't want to do probably was let Tudor go and leave it 7 or 8 days, because that puts everybody into a state of panic. I do think they've got a lot wrong this season. No, I don't think they've got a lot wrong this season. It's bloody obvious, right? But I think they have made the most of a really shit situation that they've got themselves into. They waited the right time with Tudor, announced that at the right time, and then they've gone and got, in my view, the best possible manager they could have got at this moment. And I say at this moment, Jake, but I also sort of think in the summer, I know everybody wants Poch. I don't know about between Poch and De Zerbi.
If you're talking about purely on a sort of manager level.
I think we've actually landed on our feet, got very lucky and struck gold. Particularly if it's true that you're really struggling there, aren't you?
James, I need you.
James, his thing's gone a bit floppy here.
Go on, I'll hold it. It's fine.
All right. Where's James? I think we've gone and got as good a manager as we could have got. And the other facet to that is in the summer, Pochettino couldn't have come until late. At least De Zerbi now hasn't got that relegation release clause. He's going to be here next season. He goes into that changing room and says, "I'm here." Yeah. And I'm going to see this through, come what may.
Hopefully, that makes a big difference
massively
in terms of someone going, "Well, I'm off in the summer."
Correct.
That's
obviously
so the
important.
Players you'd hope would want to stay up regardless who's in charge. But when he's like, whether we go down or stay, I'm here. Yeah. I'm committed and I'm going to stick around even if the worst case scenario happens. Well, hopefully, that makes a bit of an extra difference.
It's got to, because if you're a player and you've got a manager coming in and he's telling you what to do and shouting at you, and I need this and I need that, and as a player you're going, well, what difference do you make? Yeah. You can fuck off in a couple of weeks, right? But it makes a massive difference for him to be able to turn around and say, I'm here, I believe in this project, I'm going to stick with it. I think that is absolutely crucial. But let's talk about De Zerbi as a coach and as a manager and your impressions of him from a footballing point of view. Where do you stand with him?
Yeah, I like him. We've obviously not seen him for a few years, and he had a mixed time with Brighton. The second season at Brighton, he sort of struggled with the Europa League and the Premier League, and they dropped off. But that first season, we've not watched loads and loads of Brighton, but you remember watching Brighton, seeing them dominating teams, having a lot of shots. The way they play is nice. I think there was a game we had under Ange where we were 4-0 down after about an hour. Yeah. Someone confirmed in the comments. I'm pretty sure we were 4-0 down.
You're better at stuff than me.
And they also, I think he had that Barney with Stellini in that game where they were really, really good and should have beaten us comfortably. So the few games that we played against them, that they were really good. And he's, I know he sort of took over the good work that Potter did. But Brighton have had some brilliant players come through. They've signed some really good players, and De Zerbi's developed these players and they've gone on to bigger clubs. And, there's plenty of Bergvall's going to the World Cup. That's great news.
Sweden through.
Sweden through, which is great. And hopefully, we've as doom and gloom as it
Bosnia
is.
have equalised.
Ooh.
I think Italy going out.
We want some of that. There's a lot of what he does and the work he's done that, is really, really attractive. In terms of right now, we know he's got this volatile personality. He's a bit of a madman. He's sort of bit Conte vibes, and we obviously know he fell out with the board at Marseille and he quit a few months ago. And I know there's been a lot of discussion. Look, there you go. He lost McAllister and Caicedo in that second season.
I think it's also worth saying. So he lost Caicedo and McAllister in that second season. They also had European football, and they didn't have the squad to contend with it. Right,
and he signed Baleba, who's probably go on to bigger and better things.
I think he signed Matoma, right? Who scored tonight. It's quite apt that Matoma scored the winning goal tonight for Japan against England. But yeah, I think the second season he had some mitigating circumstances. He lost.
They still
Caicedo
finished
and
maybe
McAllister.
10th or 11th.
They were playing European football. They didn't have the squad to manage it, and this was one of the reasons that he left. So people talk about his volatile personality. Ultimately, he's there building a really strong squad and strong team. I don't blame Brighton. They are a club that they are. They're always going to be in that sort of position. So that's why he sort of had that falling out at Brighton. I think coming to Tottenham, and I want to get onto the timing of it, but if he was coming to Tottenham, let's say in a pre-season when, it's just been a regular season, but he's a new manager, I think it's something that you could be really excited about, because here's a genuinely progressive manager, somebody that you would want. We spoke a couple of seasons ago about the DNA of Tottenham, right?
Yeah.
And here is somebody you would want to implement the DNA of Tottenham in the way that he carried on at Brighton, but they've since carried that on further. The type of signings that he makes, yes, young players or cheaper players, good scouting that he then develops, but at Tottenham as well, he can add to that with your more established players. And Tottenham's not a club where he has to be concerned about players being sold from under him, right? He may not be able to go out and take his pick of the top players, but he's certainly not going to have players sold from under him, at least, if we stay up. Yeah. So this stuff about, him walking out on clubs and that, a lot of it is to do with, I don't know what you want me to do here because you're tearing apart a squad that I've built, and that's got to be quite sort of.
I also think he outgrew Brighton quite quickly.
Absolutely.
He after that first season, everyone could see the work he's done. Pep Guardiola raved over him. Yeah. And it felt like immediately he'd taken Brighton as far as they can go. Yeah. Brighton finished 6th in the Europa League.
It's
it was
not
never going to get better than
that. At Southampton. Yeah. And then the other thing, you, I think in particular, have discussed a lot. I think it's you who coined the phrase. I don't know if you coined the phrase, but on this show, I think you were the one who came up with the phrase big club football at a smaller club, right? And that's the scalability of it. It's in stark contrast to Thomas Frank, and I do want to come on to this about, Lang's comments in appointing De Zerbi tonight, but it is in stark contrast to Thomas Frank, who that's not big club football. It wasn't scalable. But you look at De Zerbi in the same way as I look at Pochettino at Southampton, and these coaches had these smaller teams through brilliant coaching and development, playing tremendous football, the type of football that
Brighton played some of the best football in the league.
Phenomenal, as did Southampton under Pochettino. Yeah. They played this football that you could see if you took that to a bigger club with better players, that can only extend further, as it did with Pochettino. I think that's why I'm feeling sort of quite positive about De Zerbi, because he's shown that actually, if he gets hold of a better group of players, and I still maintain that the group of players we've got is better than it's shown over the last however long. With time, I think it could really scale and be good. But that's
this
the
is
problem.
A different point from this season, though.
Yes.
Because we're not going to see the De Zerbi that we know is capable.
What do you think we will see in the remaining 7 games?
Well, it's interesting. I don't
this is
know.
a team that can't pass to each other.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And we know, the way De Zerbi likes to play. And he'll obviously have, hopefully, from tomorrow or Thursday, whenever he flies in, 10 whole days, which is obviously, a massive bonus that there's massive bonus we're out the FA Cup and there's no Premier League games. Yeah. 10 days is a decent amount of time, but not really in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. I'm really interested to see if he sort of rips up, his DNA and goes, well, we've got 7 games here. We need to get results. But maybe he sticks to his principles and go, this is the best way to get results.
I think it is. And the important thing is, I think what was so crucial is, as you say, we haven't got a game this weekend, so we've got 8 or 9 days on the training pitch. Now, the other thing I would say, and this might be contentious, by the way, we've got Louis Stevenson who's come in and said something very nice. Louis, don't go and rewind. If you're still listening at the minute, stay with us live, because we're going to have a phone in, and allegedly James is going to put the details of that up, isn't he? Right, so when we're ready for the phone in, James will put the number
about
up.
10 o'clock.
He's not doing it now because he doesn't want people calling yet. Let me address a couple of things, right? This was a flare pre-Forest that blew up in my hand. Don't know what happened, but that went a little bit wrong. So, let's get that out of the way.
The flare one.
And yes, Adam James Harris 80. I wouldn't say I'm on the Stella. I'm having a couple of tins, celebrating Tottenham being back and all that. So, where were we? 8 days on the training pitch is crucial. It's a big thing. And the other thing I was going to say about Igor Tudor and where De Zerbi's coming out. So a lot of people are saying we should have got him back when we got Tudor. A couple of things. He'd only just left Marseille.
Had he even left Marseille?
Yeah, he had. He was available, and there was talk at that time.
But immediately it was, I want to say, I mean, even until this week, it was, I want to take a break until the summer. So he was never going to walk straight
who knows what was actually going on, but it didn't seem likely he was going to leave Marseille one day and be on the Tottenham training pitch the next, right? But here's the other thing. As much as the results haven't been there under Igor Tudor, I actually think Igor Tudor has done a very unseen job. Not unseen, let me explain this, for Roberto De Zerbi. Tudor came in with, I think, about 13 players that he could put on the pitch. All right? And I hesitate to say fit players because they weren't fit, as we saw. Tudor did a hell of a lot of work with them, a lot of conditioning, so that they could last 90 minutes. I think if De Zerbi had come in at that point, he wouldn't have had the option even of playing his football, because he would have had to focus on the fitness. He would have had to get them fit. But where De Zerbi is coming in now is a squad that visibly and statistically is running a lot more than they were, physically more capable. And the only 2 players out, I believe, for Sunderland, as it currently stands, are Maddison and Kulusevski. He's actually got
a fully fit squad for everyone that's going to play for the rest of the season.
Correct, a fucking fit squad.
Or maybe Bentancur.
Bentancur and Kudus back?
Kudus will take a while, but he's back.
He's more or less got a fit squad. He's coming in terms of...
He's got some actual options.
In terms of squad shape, he's coming into a much better situation now than Tudor ever had.
He's got 18 senior players, 19 senior players that he can look at. We
with
saw
one
the bench
game
against Forest.
With one game a week, right? So he's coming into a much healthier squad, a much healthier squad situation than Tudor did. And I think the work that Tudor did maybe sets De Zerbi up quite nicely. So it didn't quite go as we wanted with Tudor, certainly. I didn't like his tactics. I didn't like his substitutions. But I did like the way he went about things. And, you think about Tudor as well, saying there's big, big problems here. And nobody, we sat on this pod and said, well, tell us what that is. And then we later find out his goalkeeper's got a hernia and can't move and can't kick. Now, how long has that been going on? And a number 2 that he doesn't really trust. These are big problems.
He was given a bit of a broken challenge.
Oh, a
bit of a poison challenge.
And so people saying it's a shame De Zerbi didn't come in 6 weeks ago. I'm actually pleased De Zerbi didn't. Although we're in the shit right now, whatever happens, whether we go down, whether we stop, if De Zerbi stays with us, I do think that it will benefit us longer term. But had he come in 6 weeks ago, right now, he could be fucking losing his nut, and we could all be having no faith in him.
He skipped that stage, which hopefully is a positive.
Exactly that. It is a strange one because you mentioned earlier that the manager names that were available. Where were your thoughts? It was clear Tudor was going to go, and you didn't have any faith that De Zerbi was coming. So where were your thoughts on the managers that were being spoken about?
It was a weird one because normally when Spurs are linked with managers, generally there's one where you go, he's my choice. Even when there was the summer with Ange and, we've made a pig's ear of loads of managerial appointments over the last however many years. There's normally one where you go, I could sort of get on board with that. But, after the Forest game, it was very much, we need a Tottenham boy in. It has to be, Sherwood's been flirting with a job for the last month, and Harry was a bit, and talk of Robbie Keane, and you still need someone to get results. Just because they've played for the club before and managed the club 15 years ago, that's not going to get you 3-4 wins that we need. So I sort of almost lost having an opinion on it all. I was like, this is such a bizarre situation that, like, people were saying, who do you want? And I thought, I sort of didn't really know what to say. I just sort of thought, I'm just going to see how this plays out, because I wasn't too strong on anyone, really. I mean, if you would have lined up Keane, Harry, Sherwood and Mason, Hoddle, Klinsmann, I mean, who'd you pick out of that? Dyche. Yeah, probably Dyche out of them lot. Dyche would have been, just because he's more modern, and he's managed in the league this season, and we know he's good at getting out of trouble, but didn't do great with Forest. But if you take Dyche away and you got them 5 or 6 Tottenham boys that I mentioned, I don't have a clue. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, like, Harry Redknapp coming in 2026. Mason, could you get Mason back? He's just been sacked by Forest. Klinsmann, Hoddle.
West Brom.
Sorry, not Norwich, West Brom. Hoddle? Glenn Hoddle?
Hasn't managed for 10 years.
More than that?
Yeah.
Glenn Hoddle couldn't have managed since 20 years.
Yeah, and this is where I was. I was... I know you had no faith that De Zerbi was coming. We spoke about it.
Not because I don't rate him. I just, when it sort of broke on Monday, Tottenham, was hearing in the office, Tottenham permanent manager, I thought, they can't appoint a permanent manager. It just doesn't work. Like, you can't appoint a permanent manager when you've got a huge chance of going down.
Yeah. And
if you do, it would be with a view to managing in the Championship. And I thought, well, there's no way De Zerbi is. So when I saw, the news break tonight that there's no relegation clause, and, De Zerbi is, all in, probably helped by the money he's being paid, fair enough.
Yeah.
If the club are stupid enough to pay you that money, why not take it? But I was just surprised that, because the thought of a guy that was being linked with Barcelona 15 months ago to managing the Championship just seems bananas. But, flush the cash and this is what you get.
I think, as I said earlier, the board, and when I say the board, I'm really speaking about Venkatesham and Johan Lange, have been unbelievably bad the whole season. And much of the reason we are where we are is because of them. Oh. But you also have to give credit where it's due, and I don't really want to give them credit because it's so hard to do that in this season. But you have to give credit where it's due because De Zerbi was the only option. And people might say, but is he the guy to get us out of this mess? Well,
who is?
Exactly. Who is?
Every name that's mentioned, whether they're Spurs fans or non-Spurs fans, I speak to people at work, go, well, he's not very good.
Yeah.
It's like, who is? Who's the best option?
Dyche. Dyche might have won us 1 or 2 games 1-0. Would that have been enough? But where does that go to next season? There were no options. The board have done well here, in this instance, getting De Zerbi in. And where De Zerbi's done very well, in fairness to him, is absolutely holding them over a barrel.
Yeah.
Right? And number one.
He should.
Absolutely right. He was the only option, right? He was the absolute
was in his call.
He had everything in his favour. He could do what he wants. And I don't mind at all, actually, when we look at Lange, if De Zerbi's turned around and gone, I do want a hell of a say on transfers, and I do want a lot of control.
Apparently, he does have a big say on transfers.
I trust him a damn sight more than I trust Lange. So, potentially longer term, this could work out in our favour. I'd like to think at this point now, Lange and Venkatesham will go in the summer. Off you pop. But the other thing to get excited about, and I don't know about you, you hear Alessandro Nesta being linked. I don't know if Nesta is a good coach. I know nothing about him as a coach. I don't really care.
Just someone with experience.
One of the greatest centre-backs of all time potentially joining the coaching staff is, I just think that is so exciting. And if he does join the coaching staff, what does that tell us about the esteem in which Roberto De Zerbi as a coach is held by his peers within the game? I would love to see him join. Can you imagine Alessandro Nesta getting hold of Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven? Can you imagine the lift that must give those guys? I don't care if he's a good coach or not. You're stood there he hasn't even got to be a good coach.
Just a
He's
bit of
Nesta.
guidance,
This
just
is
a
how
bit.
this is how you defend lads. I was listening to Jermaine Defoe talking on Talk Sport the other day, and he was saying, I think it was Les Ferdinand came in and did a bit of coaching once or twice a week when he was at Tottenham, just shooting and finishing practice. And he said, just to learn from somebody like Les Ferdinand, who, let's face it, ain't a great coach, right? But Jermaine Defoe was like, you look at Les Ferdinand, this unbelievable striker. He came in a couple of times a week, and I learnt so much from him. Can you imagine Nesta coming in and grabbing Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero? Can you imagine Vuskovic at Hamburg at the minute going, I'd like to be in the German league next season playing my brother again?
Yeah,
or
someone just said in the comments, be a big influence on him.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. But, now you turn around and you're like, hang on, mate, Luca, you want to play with your brother in the German league next season, or do you want to be coached by Alessandro Nesta? It's just... and this is the thing, right, is I left that game against Forest and I was down and out.
Yeah.
Like, as down and out as I could be. And people who watch this show will know that maybe I go off at the deep end with my positivity when we, announce a new manager. I try to look for the positives.
Yeah.
I do. I try to look for the positives because I want them to succeed. Because if they succeed, Tottenham succeed. It goes hand in hand. I'm so desperate for these managers to succeed. I want to see the positive in it. Even Thomas Frank, I sat here when we were talking about...
You try and try.
I was trying to convince myself, in the state that we're in, he's going to put in a bit of stability, give us that bit of tactical flexibility. He knows the Premier League. You try and look for the positives. And I'm asking myself here, am I looking too much at the positives of Roberto De Zerbi? What are the negatives? He is volatile.
Yeah.
He can have arguments with players. We saw it with Issa at Marseille, who's now gone and done very, very well in Serie A. But even then, I was doing some research around that, and Marseille players were saying this guy came in from Watford and he was dicking about and not training hard enough. And a number of us had a chat with him. A number of us were having a word with him. And even on that day, before De Zerbi blew up, a number of us were saying, come on, Issa, we need more, mate. And he wasn't doing it. And then you get the context behind the incident. I'm not going to sit here and say De Zerbi's going to be a success. What I am going to sit here and say is that this is the first manager since Pochettino that I think looks like a Tottenham manager. Yeah. I was positive about Mourinho because it's Mourinho, positive about Conte because it's Conte, positive about Ange. I wanted him to be the first Australian to come to the league and play this beautiful brand of football and succeed. Try to be positive about Frank, But this is the first one that, to me, feels like a Tottenham manager just coming in at a really difficult time. So I hope he can get through the next 7 games. Hope he can keep us up. And if he does, then I go into the summer, not a summer where I was talking the other day on this show about, so, who's actually overseeing the summer? Yeah. Who's putting this strategy in place? You think about it like this, right? If we stay up, he's got 7 games to assess his squad. This is who I want, this is who I don't want. Yeah. These are the attitudes I like, these are the attitudes I don't like. And he can put a plan in place. You've got to start feeling a lot more positive about next season, haven't you?
It will help not having that, all great staying up. We would have taken anyone in just to stay up. But, we stay up, we wait around for Poch. May doesn't happen. We get to the end of July, we've got pre-season tour of bloody Australia and New Zealand, which is, honestly, more nonsense.
Can you believe?
Which is that game in New Zealand is a week before possibly the League Cup game, which is just...
Can you believe?
They don't read the room very well. I know they've got it's about partnerships and finances and marketing, but, a week after Forest and we're finding out we've got games in New Zealand when we don't have a manager. But, hopefully we stay up with De Zerbi and, we've actually got a summer to look forward to. I know it's almost impossible to think beyond May, but, it seemed like this club was on its way out. It seemed like the lights were going out for good. And even if we stayed up, we were... would we be in another relegation battle next season? Whereas now, and we're thinking ahead, and I'm still really worried about going down. If we do stay up, we can get to the summer, we can breathe. We've got a manager in, have a break.
Yeah. This is it. I left Forest, I was down and out. Yeah. And this is the problem. This is, the stupidity of a Tottenham fan. I was down and out. We were done. We were relegated. Even I was starting to oh God, reconcile it and try to, come to terms with it in my head. Suddenly, we've got De Zerbi, and I'm like, there's still a very strong chance we could go down. Let's be real.
Just quickly, as you said, Soul Sniper Gaming. I'm not confident about staying up. Just because we've got De Zerbi and we're talking slightly positively, I'm still extremely, extremely worried. I'm not for 1 second, coming on here and saying we're going to win the first 3-4 games. The next 2 games the next 3 games are absolutely humongous.
Let's be absolutely clear. This is a team at the moment.
We've not won for 3 months.
This is a team that's won, I think, 18 Premier League games of the last 70 or something like that. I think that was the stat that I found earlier this week. So nobody has sat here saying all of a sudden we believe we're staying up. We've got to win 3 games out of 7. We've won 18 and 70. So it is the tallest of tall orders, especially when you've got Leeds fighting like hell, Forest clearly fighting like hell, West Ham fighting like hell. If I was a betting man, even right now, I'd sit here and say it's probably more likely we go down.
Yeah.
But whereas I was completely down and out coming out against Forest,
now we hope for a proper, true new manager bounce.
It's like like Terminator 2, right?
One of my favourite
greatest films of all time, right? And the light goes out at the end of the film. You see his light go out, and he's gone, isn't he? Right? That was me after Forest. And then it's a film, it's going to happen, right? But you just see the lights. Bzz, bzz. That's where I'm at now, right? It's just that little
bit of
that
glimmer.
little glimmer, right? And you never know. Maybe we'll just start crawling our way back. And if we can get to the summer and we're in the Premier League, the club is much better positioned now than I could have imagined. Even with Pochettino coming in after the World Cup, we're far better off going into the summer with De Zerbi than we would have been waiting.
We don't need more uncertainty. So we've had enough.
Exactly that. So just to be clear, I'm not sat here saying we're going to stay up. I think
we're not stupid.
I think
he's a good manager.
If he keeps us up at this point, I genuinely, if he keeps us up at this point, straight away for me, he's a bigger hero than most managers in my lifetime. I think he'll have done a better job in 7 games than most managers in my lifetime. That's the magnitude of the job that he's got right now, okay? But if he manages it, and like I say, no Spurs fan, even Soul Sniper Gaming saying we don't look like we can win a game, I just don't understand how any Spurs fan, after the news of De Zerbi coming in and putting everything to one side, but just on a footballing basis, can look at it and say, I don't feel a glimmer of hope. You've got to feel a glimmer of hope, haven't you? You've got to. But let's throw it out to our audience. It's 10 o'clock. We said we're going to throw it open. James, do you want to put the numbers up? So
Let's give some ground rules.
you haven't discussed the ground rules with us. All right, James is going to give us ground rules. Are you going to come in and give us ground rules? Right, fastest finger first. We can only take one call at a time. We're going to give a 2-minute countdown on the screen. Which is the maximum amount of time you have to sort of state your pitch or claim, and then we'll have a little discussion around it. Hopefully we get calls. If we do, we'll try and get through as many as we can. It'll be great to engage with you guys. We've got you all the time. This lovely community. Numbers coming on the screen now. Jake and I will put our headphones in. A bit nervous about this, Jake. Somebody's going to call up and call me all sorts of things, aren't they? Been waiting to speak to you.
It'd be worse if no one calls.
Yeah.
That'd be a bit embarrassing.
Yeah. We'll just sit here and twiddle our thumbs and then go home. My wife's like, what time will you be back? Don't know how many people are going to call.
Depends.
It's either going to be quite early or quite late.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But where are we here? So while we're waiting for whoever it is that's going to be fastest finger first, let's have a look at the results. Bosnia and Herzegovina are in extra time. Czech Republic are beating Denmark in extra time. Turkey are through. And Sweden beat Poland. Guy Koresh with an 88th minute goal to send them to the World Cup.
That's one of my bugbearers, Sweden being at the World Cup when they were absolutely atrocious in their qualifying campaign. And they qualified through them.
The phone's ringing. This is the first ever. What happens here, James?
Hello.
Hello?
Who are we speaking with?
Is that
Who have we got here?
Steve Ho?
Steve, hi, welcome to An Echo of Glory. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right.
What's your point? What would you like to say?
Oh, I totally agree with you. You've got to be a bit positive. It's been also like you walked out of Forest. And
Steve, your line's a
Steve,
little bit
wait there a
crackly.
second. James, is that our line or is that Steve's line that's cutting in and out? Hang about. Steve, try again.
I'm still here.
Yeah, try again. It was just cutting in and out a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Totally with Gary there. But after Forest, I walked. I was absolutely. We're finished.
Steve, I got to tell you something. Sorry to cut across you. It is still cutting in and out. I heard you're totally with Gary, and that was enough for me. James, wait, Steve, just stay there. James, whose line is this? All right, we're going to call you back in just a minute, Steve. All right. That was a good first call, wasn't it? So this is it. Listen, this is live.
Forwarded to voice.
This
the
is
person you're is not available. The tone.
It
sounds like
O'Hara
it's
and Cundy taking calls. Hello, Sam Goldman. Who's O'Hara and who's Cundy?
I'm O'Hara. I'm not being kind. I mean, I don't really want to be O'Hara. James is going to try and see if he can sort the line out a little bit. Oh, Steve, hello. There you are. Go on, give it another go.
Yeah, I'll just earlier after that was it. We're finished. I really was hearted, and I think we're gone. But with this, I think.
I think you can do it.
Right. That's Steve. Sorry, we've had a couple of technical problems, but here's what we're going to do: is I've now got you next to the mic. So sorry if that did cut out a little bit. You know what we should have done? We actually should have tested this first, shouldn't we? But you know, this is what happens first time. Steve, so you're saying that you left Forest, you were down and out, but you do feel a bit more positive now, and you think De Zerbi's going to do it for us.
Yeah, I mean, after all the, I didn't actually go that early. That I was greeting the coach, etc. But with all that, and I saw it, and I thought, my God, that is, unbelievable. And for them to do that performance, I mean, I've played football at an amateur level. The basic marking for what's his name, the second goal, we had 6 or 7 players in the box, and no one. But goal side of someone, goal side of his name, the England player. But
Gibbs White.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just hoping that De Zerbi comes in and says, "Look, let's get back to basics here, and get back to basics. Play players in their right positions, and take it from there. And hopefully, I've heard things like that the players had a meal or something, and they're really excited about De Zerbi. That's what we want. That's what we want. If we've got the players getting excited and going out there and giving it more, then it's more positive.
100%. Steve, love that. First call ever on An Echo of Glory. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the technical problems, and sorry to everybody that can't hear or can hear.
I watch on YouTube. I never listen to it. I always watch it at night on a Monday night.
Oh yeah, we appreciate it. We really
Steve.
do. We appreciate all of you. But Steve, lovely call.
It's the best pod.
Lovely.
Million miles.
Appreciate that, Steve. Thanks for calling. Lovely to have you on the show. We'll do this again, and we will get better at it as well on this call-ins. But we're going to hang up to you now, Steve, so that somebody else can call through, because we've only got one line at a time. Thanks for calling. Speak to you again. All the best. Question: could people hear that when I held the phone to the mic?
Tom Foreign says, honestly, can hear it fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear it. Okay, so the phone line is clear. So if anybody now would like to call, dial the number on the screen. Who do you think is going to flourish under De Zerbi?
Well, I saw earlier that De Zerbi tried to buy Kudus when he was at Ajax. I think the summer that West Ham signed him. So hopefully he comes and hits the ground running. But someone like Bergvall, he's had a bit of a weird season. He's missed a lot of minutes and missed a lot of football, and obviously come back tonight, came off the bench. Someone said he was involved in that goal. And, these 7 games are hugely important for him in terms of keeping Tottenham up. He's got a World Cup goal in mind.
Yeah.
And World Cups do not come around often, especially for Sweden. So
let me just say, if anybody does want to call, because we've had one call so far, big success.
Get your calls in.
The number now for anybody listening that's not got a screen is 07375 928 256. 07375 928 256. We would love to hear from you. I'll hold the phone to the mic so everybody can hear it, and we'll get over those technical issues. I think Bergval's got a massive end of the season too.
And Romero as well. You know, everyone's got their thoughts on Romero, and you know the likelihood is he'll probably be off in some capacity this summer. But you know, he did well under Conte in that first season.
We've got a call.
I'll hold that for.
Got a text.
On full Love Island.
Hang on.
Turn your telly down.
Who's this that we've got on the line?
Evening, Gary. It's Louis.
Hi, Louis. How are you doing?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for... that's technical, I am. Thank you, Louis, for joining us on An Echo of Glory. Great to have you with us. What would you like to say?
Well, long-time listener, first-time caller. Just want to say you guys are the best pod out there.
Appreciate it.
Doing that little talk sport intro. No, my question, I guess you boys were just starting to cover it. I think, you know, you talked about who's going to flourish, but we've seen, you know, De Zerbi's got a lot of videos online in training, talking to players and having a bit of attitude, not scared to give it back to them. Who do you think could be a controversial drop or someone who's left out of key games? Or is there anyone that you think, you know, we've seen some questionable attitudes from the players this season. Do you think there's anyone out there that might struggle underneath him in these games?
Such a great question. I was thinking about this, and it's funny you mentioned Kudos, Jake, just now, because the fallout that he had with Issa was about the 1 and 2 touch, which ain't Kudos' strength. He likes to get the ball and hold it. So I was wondering how that would play out, but ultimately I think Kudos will flourish in the way that Mitoma did under De Zerbi. The one that I think, and I'll listen, who knows, but the one that I think might struggle will be Sarr. I don't think Sarr will have the technical capability in a two-man midfield for what De Zerbi wants. And I think between now and the end of the season, I don't know how brave De Zerbi is going to be with this, but I think if he played a two-man midfield of Gray and Bergval, who are probably the two most technical players in that position, both players will flourish and Sarr could fall by the wayside. I'd be very interested as well to see where Gallagher fits.
Someone just said in the comments Gallagher
That was my thought.
And it's also interesting in the comments, someone said Jed Spence.
Somebody said Spence. We can come on to that. You thought Gallagher, did you, Louis?
Well, I was thinking about our midfield, and I'm thinking Sarr, Palhinha, Gallagher. We know that they're not the most progressive players, and you know, do they have the ability to pick up the ball from deep or on the half turn and move the ball progressively? So I was thinking the midfield, and I did think Spence as well. We obviously, you know, there's talk of his attitude. I think he's at points been one of our better players, but I wasn't sure how he'd flourish under a manager like De Zerbi.
I think the thing about De Zerbi, what we know, is he's very exacting in his standards, and he ain't going to take any shit. Yeah. Now, I don't want to cast aspersions on Jed Spence, but if you believe so much of what has been said about him, then he's somebody that, I don't know if this is the right way of saying it, he's somebody you got fear for a little bit under a De Zerbi, hasn't he, Jake?
Yeah. We've seen, you know, especially there was that Chelsea moment, but just generally there's a lot of things that you see in Jed Spence in terms of his attitude that as a fan you're like, I'm not sure about that. I wonder how De Zerbi, you know, he might buck his ideas up.
Maybe.
I remember last year as well, there was that period where Adogi came back and started playing in the Europa League, and it was sort of a realisation for Spence that he wasn't going to be part of that Europa League starting 11. Yeah. And he sort of fobbed it off in the league slightly, and his performances dropped, and he'd come into the team, was really good, and sort of felt like he was sulking. Yeah. I don't think De Zerbi will be having that.
No, not at all. Louis, where are you at? We staying up or we going down?
I think we'll do it now, boys. Yeah, I think the positivity's there. I think he'll get a couple of results early on, maybe a draw and a win. Definitely against Brighton at home. I think that's got, you know, it's one of those football romance stories, you know, the first game typically being against his old club at home. I think we'll win that one and we'll stay up. Yeah,
I think so. I think so. I hope so. Louis, so lovely to have you on the show with us. Really appreciate you calling in. If we do this again, this live sort of phone in, do call again, because I enjoyed your question. It was a good one, because we tried to cover a lot of ground on this pod, but there's so much that we don't cover. So it's great for you to sort of prompt ideas and make us think a little bit. So appreciate it.
Cheers, Louis. Thank you.
Cheers, boys.
All the best. Bye.
Keep getting your calls in.
So the phone lines are again open. The phone line is again open.
Keep your calls coming.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? There will be players under De Zerbi that really do flourish.
Centre midfielders have generally flourished under him. You know, we saw McAllister and Caicedo get moves. Balaba's done great.
But the thing is, they've both got moves and gone on to show what good players they are. So if you compare that to, I always forget the name of him, the centre-back under Pochettino at Southampton that went to Liverpool, not Van Dijk. Lovren. He went there and suddenly couldn't play football anymore. So it's like, you do have to ask, were Caicedo and McAllister just brilliant players? Was Mitoma just a brilliant player? How much did he actually elevate them? That's kind of the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. You know, Caicedo's gone on to become, you know, one of the best midfielders in the world, and McAllister's generally been slightly mixed, but you know, managers got to take credit for that. It's like you can sort of look at some of the things that Poch did, and people will say, "Oh, you know, he ended up with this great team," but you know, he was the mastermind behind that. Brighton didn't finish sixth because they had a few good players. It was, you know, he was the brains behind that.
You might know more about this than me, because somebody's just mentioned Højbjerg, and De Zerbi obviously signed Højbjerg for Marseille.
Yeah.
How did he get on under De Zerbi?
Well, it's only been. Has it been this season?
Well,
I think it's 18 months ago. Yeah, so he signed him when he first got there. I'm not sure. He's played a lot. I know he started well about 18 months ago, but I'd be lying if I said I've watched Marseille in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
So I've got absolutely no idea. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know there's people that will be questioning him because he signed Højbjerg, and I know Højbjerg's not the most popular around here. But yeah, I can't say I've watched Højbjerg for a minute under Marseille.
Guys, we're here for as long as you want us to be here. If we're not going to get calls, then we go home. So, you know, pick up the phone, give us a call, ask us questions. It's lovely to hear from you. And
quickly, just what Ryan's saying, which is quite interesting. We've obviously touched a load on De Zerbi, but we've not touched on the 5-year contract. I think only 2 managers in our history, correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe 2 managers in the last 60 years have been at the club for 5 years and longer, which is Keith Birkinshaw and Pochettino.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I think 15 managers in Premier League history have been at one club for 5 years. One was Fergie, one was Wenger, one's Klopp, Arteta, Pochettino and Guardiola. So not many.
Yeah.
And, you know, by all accounts, De Zerbi probably won't be at Tottenham for 5 years because we don't keep managers for that long, and he doesn't stick around for that long. But it's interesting that he's been given a 5-year deal and maybe not a 3-year deal or a 2.5-year deal. A 5-year deal is enormous, and maybe, presumably, that was the lure. Yeah. That was the pulling point from De Zerbi's point of view.
I've realised I'm sat here with this in, but I don't actually need it, do
I? Definitely not. Get your calls in. We want to take some more calls. We've only had 2 calls. We want to get your questions in, and you know, let's chat Tottenham.
I would genuinely love to take more calls. We get so many questions from our listeners, and particularly after the pods, don't we? Like, so many people want to have a go at us on YouTube, right? Like,
luckily we've shaken a few of them off.
This is your opportunity. The number is 07375 928 256. We've had 2 great calls. Ryan, you guys should do calls after a match.
You don't want to see Gary after a defeat.
The other problem with that is it's not so much that you don't want to see me after a defeat, because that's when we're at our most raw. So maybe they do.
Yeah.
It's more that, number one, if it's a home game, it's
difficult with times.
It's difficult with timings, and also I'll have had a skinful usually. So there's that to factor in. And if it's been an away game, I don't know, maybe we do it after Sunderland. Maybe we get in here after Sunderland and take some calls. How did it go? What did we see? What did it look like?
The Sunday 2:00 game is quite a decent slot, because especially when it's away, because we can get in straight away.
Yeah.
Evening games are a bit of a write-off. We can't get in here. You know,
What time is Sunderland?
I think it's 2. Whereas, you know, if it's Saturday 3 o'clock, people have, you know, got lives. But Sunday early is quite a good slot. So maybe we'll have a look
James,
at doing
what are you saying? Should we come in on Sunday after Sunderland next week? And
I can confirm I will not be coming in after Sunderland.
why?
Because it's Masters Sunday. And
Oh,
for any
right,
golf
yeah.
fans out there, that's a very important day.
Yeah. Well, look, here we are. We're not getting any calls. So I guess, you know, if that being the case, we wrap it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless anyone else fancies a late call.
Yeah. Last knockings. Anybody? The number is going across the screen. Otherwise, we will wrap it up. We'll give it one more minute. Bit of a shame. I was looking forward to more.
Do you know what is a shame? I was thinking this earlier. Who's my bet to win the Masters? Bryson DeChambeau is my bet.
Flanders, why don't you call and ask
We
that
can speak
and
golf.
then chat about Tottenham at the same time?
Do you know what's a shame? This is a massive shame. But the most positive podcasts we've done this season have generally been when we've sacked managers. And unfortunately, in the last six or so years, some of my, I'm not going to say happiest times, but some of the better feelings have been when we got rid of Conte, when we got rid of Mourinho, when we got rid of Frank, when we got rid of Tudor, which is a bit of a sad state of affairs.
Got a call. Got a call. Hello, good evening. Welcome to An Echo of Glory. Who are we speaking with?
My name's Adrian, a big Tottenham fan. How are you guys doing?
We're good, Adrian. Thanks so much for calling the show. What do you want to say?
Could I ask 2 questions? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Nobody else is calling, Adrian. You can ask as many as you like, mate.
Yeah, do you know what? The first one is that I just wanted to know, do you think if Tottenham went down into the Championship, do you think that's going to affect, like, YouTube channels in general? Would you still reckon you'll get the same sort of coverage as you would if they was in the Premier League? That's the first one.
I don't think we can get many less.
I almost think in a weird way, you know, half of me says if we went down, a lot of people would switch off and be like, that's not for me. But because it's so bleak and so unprecedented, I almost feel like people might be more intrigued because we've never, ever seen this before.
I don't know. I think, you know, I think I can only speak about, like, to be fair, I'll be completely truthful with Adrian. I don't really listen to pods or anything. And when Johnny asked me to be on this one, I was like, I don't really sort of, you know, I don't get it because I don't listen to pods. But what I would say is for myself, like, this pod has got, I think, a really nice community where every time we go live, we can rely on a sort of core number of people that will join us. And we know that we've got a core number of people that will watch us on YouTube afterwards, maybe. And I feel that they are the Tottenham fans that, for whatever reason, want to hear, you know, our views and our opinions. And I hope that if we went down, that would always stay. I don't know the answer to the question. Like, would YouTube channels decrease? I don't think so. Spurs is such a massive
As
club.
someone just said, as Kai1882 said, we would get less media coverage. We'd be on telly a hell of a lot, but and as big of a club as we are, it is the Championship. You know, we wouldn't be being spoken about on Super Sunday and Monday Night Football or Match of the Day. So maybe YouTube would be, you know, get more exposure potentially about Spurs because that might be the go-to place.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Tottenham.
You wouldn't have Monday Night Football, Jamie Carragher ripping us apart, would you? So yeah, quite possibly. Who knows? Do you know what though, Adrian? I hope we don't find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I just hope that will be a disaster. I do think we'll stay up, lads, but and I think it will be. I think we've put a lot of pressure on ourselves as a club. I feel like we've almost kind of manifested this sort of like spiral of negativity, and we're losing games. But I feel like if De Zerbi can go in and, you know, not focus too much on his philosophy, like obviously embed it in there, but just really get the players in their position, play a back four, and just, you know, get the guys believing. And I feel he has that. You know, that sort of Conte-esque. I know Conte used to sort of be quite bullish, but I feel like...
Fiery, passionate.
Yeah, someone that you can kind of look to your left and he's kind of confident. I felt like under, Thomas Frank, it felt like a substitute school teacher.
Good.
They sort of almost like, let the acceleration off a bit. And I feel with someone like De Zerbi, he's watching everything. So hopefully it can get him going. My second question is, if you was to say like an ideal De Zerbi signing, if it was in the summer or in the Premier League, and, you know, he got given, the full sort of cash that he's, you know, sort of being promised. I mean, I'll say mine first, like an ideal signing, but I think someone like an Adam Morton would be like a nice De Zerbi signing. But I don't know what you guys think in terms of if you were to say, you know, a De Zerbi signing, you could pick from whoever to come in at Tottenham in the summer. Who would it be?
In terms of Walton, you know, Walton's great. We'd all love him. I think we need to be maybe slightly more realistic with where we're at now. And maybe even a year ago when we were in the Champions League, I just don't think we can be looking at those kind of signings. In terms of just what we need and you know, where he is as a player, having done so well on De Zerbi, and I've been calling. Can you turn your telly down?
Oh, sorry, is it my TV?
Yeah. I've been calling for him for a few years, and especially after watching tonight. Mitoma is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I would love Mitoma. We should have signed Mitoma before we sold Son. Can we attract someone like Mitoma? Maybe under De Zerbi.
The thing is with Mitoma, I think he's like 33 years old now, right? And as brilliant a player as he is,
He's 33.
I think
Is
so.
he that old?
He was that age, right?
I think so. I might be wrong on that, but I think he's getting on. The answer to your question, as far as I'm concerned,
28.
Is he 28?
28.
I thought it was older. I don't know why I thought it was older. Okay, my bad. I've done him a disservice. I think this isn't necessarily who I would want, but somebody that I could see us being very interested in at this stage of his career and for a De Zerbi type of player is Adam Scott at Bournemouth. Is it Adam Scott?
Adam Scott, brilliant.
Yeah,
Tottenham all
Adam
over.
Scott is Bournemouth.
Tottenham DNA all over.
You know, young English lad. I think he's 23, 24 years old now.
Tottenham fan.
Is Tottenham fan. Is technically brilliant, and I could see somebody like Adam Scott,
Him and Archie Gray
becoming De Zerbi's McAllister, if you like, at Brighton. So I think Adam Scott is somebody that, if we stay up, and no disrespect to Bournemouth, but if we stay up, then you know what I mean. Like we're still,
realistic.
Yeah, exactly. So that's who I would go for. But it's a good question, like that one. So Adrian, listen, thank you so much for calling. Really appreciate it. I would say ask more questions, but I don't know if anybody else is trying to get through. They're probably not. But let's open up the lines again. Call again. It's Alex Scott. Alex Scott. Somebody's correcting me. Alex Scott, not Adam Scott. I do apologise. Thank you so much for calling. Really appreciate it, Adrian.
You're welcome, guys. Good luck for the season.
Cheers,
and you. All the best. Take care.
Just on the World Cup stuff, our host Johnny Blaine has just put in the group from his friend in Sweden. Bergvall is some player. Took control of the game tonight when he came on, was a different level to everyone else on the pitch.
We've got another call. This is good. It's warming up now. I'm interested about that. Hang on.
We'll go back to Bergwell.
Oh, no, he hung up. Shall I give him a call back? Oh, I can't because I don't have James.
Whoever you were, give us a call back.
Give us a call back. I can't because I can't get into your phone. Could you ask on the group what position Bergvall played tonight? Because it would be very interesting. No, you do it, mate. I'm not. Whoever it was that was calling,
Italy gone to penalties.
Italy's gone to
Czech Republic gone to penalties.
Think about. Hello.
Hello there.
Hi, this is Gary from An Echo of Glory. I think you were just trying to call us. Who are we speaking with?
I was. Yeah, I kept the line was busy, but my name's David. I'm calling from Northern Ireland.
David, great to have you with us.
I love the show. It's absolutely brilliant, and I think your rants are fantastic. You do make me laugh at times.
Only at times, but thank you.
But the reason I'm ringing is I supported Spurs since the 60s.
Yeah.
Late 60s.
You poor bloke.
I have to say, this is
you
probably...
you poor bloke. He saw the best era.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, go on.
I saw us winning trophies in the 70s, the 80s. And this board that has run Tottenham Hotspur, all the boards have never, ever taken a risk and taken us to the next level. And our people keep talking about winning the league and so forth. I think we've only won it twice ever in the history.
Yeah, we have.
And that's because our board and all the boards, it seems to be a culture at Spurs, whether it's small-mindedness or what. And I'm not going to go into the Enix thing because that's a whole different ballgame. But they've never broke out and spent the money they needed to spend, particularly the 80s team with Glenn Hoddle and so forth. If we had added a couple of players to that, and even coming into when Harry Redknapp was there and Poch, a couple of players there added to that team might have made the difference.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So is essentially what you're saying is we're never going to get to where we want to without a change of culture and board at the club.
Yeah, without a change of ownership, we need some millionaires to come in and take the corporate thing to come in and take it over, hopefully in a positive way, because that's a risk too. But anyway, my question to you chaps is, we have some great young players. During last season, I started to watch the under-21s quite a bit. The videos that come up on the podcast and so forth. And this season, I've actually gone and watched the Lancashire. Tonight, I've just watched Jimmy Donnelly.
Yes. And
those two boys could play in this Premier League, no problem. We've even got Mikey Moore up at Rangers and so forth. So my question really is, what chance? There are other good young players there too. What chance do you think the young ones will have with De Zerbi? You know, because I think there's a golden age just coming there.
But let me throw this back. Let me throw this back to you. You've watched Lancashire and Donnelly and so on quite a bit, and you say they can play in the Premier League, and they probably can. Ignore where Tottenham are at the moment. Think about where Tottenham aspire to be: top 5, top 4, challenging, whatever. Can they play for Tottenham at that level?
Well, that's not really my point. Yes, no, they couldn't at this moment in time. But say, for example, we'd have held on to them this season, they would have. I tell you what, they'd have put more in than some of those ones that we have playing for us.
That's
they'd have fought harder.
Yeah,
Lance Charles, remember, got sent off one time, and I think he's been in trouble a few times. He's a battler.
Yeah.
Donnelly reminds me of Sheringham because he keeps dropping deep, and he scored tonight.
Yeah.
He just reminds me of Teddy Sheringham. Now, I know it's very early in the career, and it's all wishful thinking and so forth.
Yes.
But there are other young ones there, as we saw playing in Europe last season, and not in this season actually. But it's just, will De Zerbi give somebody? I think he could maybe be the most fortunate manager ever to come to Spurs, because all these young ones, and it not that season, certainly in another season, are going to start coming through, and he could maybe benefit from all of that. But I just wanted your view on it, really. What do you think?
Really interesting question.
Do you know, it's such a difficult one, because I think the challenge that any Tottenham manager has is the expectations of the club. And as you've just said there, you know, could Donnelly play in a Tottenham team that has aspirations of top 5, top 4, whatever,
or even top 10,
or even you know, the answer is probably no. And a manager has to balance that with, you know, keeping their job and doing what's expected of them. It's such a difficult balancing act. Now, if we got relegated, if we did get relegated, all of a sudden, I would rather see a team of, in the Championship, Jamie Donnelly, Vuskovic, Moore, all of them coming through, and let's see what they actually can do, and let's give them the grounding, and then if they get us promoted, let's give them that go in the Premier League when they've got that experience. But Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, I'd like to think never, maybe it will happen, but let's say we stay up, we should never be in that position. And the only time really that these youngsters are going to get a genuine opportunity would be in the early rounds of League Cup potentially, or the Europa Leagues or Conference Leagues or whatever. It's so
mentioning Lancashire, I
integrate
think someone mentioned it in the comments as well. The interesting one at Brighton is, for me, would be Evan Ferguson. And I know he's gone on to really struggle in the last couple of years, but I'm pretty sure he came through. I remember him scoring a hat-trick against Newcastle, and that first season under De Zerbi, when he was 18, 19, scored 10, 12 Premier League goals. I don't know how many other. I know they had in Cisco, and I know these guys are not all come through the academy, but Evan Ferguson is the one that sticks out to me. He was 18, a bit of a rookie, had hardly played, and really got his chance under De Zerbi.
Yeah, but Brighton's a different case, aren't they?
Yes, of course. There's less pressure.
Yeah, and he got them into Europe in his first season, which was fantastic for them. I don't know if they've ever done it since, or if that was their only ever European campaign. But it is a different pressure, right? He could bring in an Evan Ferguson and blood him. I don't know that at Tottenham
it doesn't happen a lot at the top clubs
bring
as much.
in a Jamie Donnelly. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless they are a generational talent. I hate to use that word, because what is a generational talent? But unless they're a generational talent, it's really hard at a top club. But I think you're right. I think we've got an absolute wealth of talent coming through that will go on to have Premier League careers. And we're not talking about your Tom Carrolls and Harry Winks, who did all right in the Premier League, but ultimately isn't a Premier League player. I think you're right. I think we've got players that can survive and make a career in the Premier League. I just don't know that they will get that opportunity at Tottenham.
Let me swing it the other way. I'm amazed that you think that this squad could be top 5.
No, I don't. I didn't say that. No. I didn't say that. I didn't say the squad.
But you're saying, do you think a team like Tottenham pushing on to be a top 5 club? And I get where you're coming from. But at the moment, this squad, and it's going to take, we go back to this 2 transfer windows, maybe 3 transfer windows, to get them to a level. I don't know, Zerbi maybe knows the players he wants and so forth. And again, we come back to that point about adding experienced players to the team. But if we had Jimmy Donnelly and say Lancashire, now Lancashire, they're playing championship football, and Lancashire's actually playing at a club and scoring goals. They're in the bottom three. So he's getting kicked from pillar to post. He's learning his trade. Now, those sort of players could play, dare I say it, the lesser matches. In other words, at the bottom of the table where we're playing teams who are maybe in the bottom five.
Or
bottom
coming on
six.
after 70 minutes is what they should be
Yes.
doing. Yeah. I don't
Exactly.
disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree. And I think it's something that at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, we like to see the youth coming through. We like to see these players being bedded into the team some way. I'm just saying, like, I do get it from a manager's point of view. It is a very difficult balancing act. I think I hear you entirely on Jamie Donnelly, by the way, in particular. And there was another one as well. I've gone blank on his name. The Scouse lad that came and joined us. That's
Alfie
doing very
Devine.
well. Alfie Devine's doing very well as well.
Very
Very similar to Adam Scott in terms.
I just
of
think,
profile.
as Louis Stevenson mentions there, Louis Stevenson, when you see players like Cullen Moani during that spell before Tudor came in, the lack of effort.
Yeah.
You know, Lancashire's not got the quality that Moani's got, and you know, Devine's not got the quality that a Bergval's got. But when you see players, when you're in a real dogfight, you know, you sort of think, oh, we could do with it. But you know, especially in this position, I you know, and for a club like Tottenham, there's a massive step up between doing well in the Championship for Oxford, than the Premier League. Yeah,
there is. But listen, I hear your point, and you know, I think it's one where next season maybe we'll see a couple of these kids on the bench and give them a go, and you know, all it takes is you've got to think nobody expected Harry Kane to be Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like
It's that age-old
seen.
question, isn't it? The only way players get experience is by playing them.
Yeah,
they need minutes.
Yeah,
you know, whether that's out on loan, but they need minutes. And I'm not saying they should be chucked in now. You know, if we go down, completely different story, because I'm sure a lot of them will be used because there's a lot of very good players in there.
Yeah,
but they need minutes. They need opportunities. There's 100%. Quality youngsters out there all over the country.
I remember Stephen Carr coming into the team as a right back. And nobody really had high hopes for him, and he went on to be one of the best right backs of that generation, right? For us, you know. So you're right. Like, I do just understand the pressures from a manager's point of view, but it's always the case unless you give these kids the opportunity, they're either going to step up and become a man, or they're not, right? But you've got to give them that chance. I do agree with you, and I think 70 minutes onwards, I'd much rather see Lancashire coming off the bench, giving it his all, than Kylo Moani. David, listen, thank you so much for calling from Northern Ireland.
No, you're welcome.
Really appreciate
Terrific.
it.
Thank
Please
you.
do keep listening. Speak to you again. All the best.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
mate.
All the best.
Bye.
Bye now.
The solitary phone line that we have is once again free. We are around, probably, I'm happy to go to about 11 o'clock or so. So if there's more calls, then, you know, get them in now, because otherwise we'll just wrap up earlier. Love these questions. Like, some real thinkers, aren't there? Like, because so often we come in and, you know, we sort of got an idea of the types of things we're going to talk about.
It's good to have a few curveballs.
Yeah, somebody like ask us,
Now
like,
you know
really challenge us.
how those guys on the radio really feel.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know what's coming.
Like, really challenge us, make us think a little bit.
People saying Italy out.
Italy
not at a World Cup again, which probably best for Udogie that he, if we stay up and Udogie stays, and you know he definitely doesn't need to go to a tournament, so hopefully get a nice rest. What lineup do you think De Zerbi picks when he's had time with a fit squad? I think in this position, I don't think he'll change loads. I'd imagine he'll get Javi Simmons into that team. He plays this attacking football. He's going to want to try and win games, not lose games. A bittersweet day for De Zerbi, yeah, very interesting. I don't think he'll change loads, providing the back four are all still fit. You know, that will be the same. Interestingly, we've not heard about it, but we might see Kinski. Could we see Brandon Austin if Vicario's out? Would he play Kinski? Kinski, despite his disaster in Madrid, is you know the best goalkeeper in the squad in terms of playing out from the back. Yes, he is. He's the best goalkeeper in the squad from playing out the back. He's definitely better than Vicario. In terms of going forward, Gray and someone.
I'd have Graham Bergvall.
Bergvall getting some good minutes for Sweden.
I'd have Gray, Bergvall, Kudos right midfield.
I don't
Xavi
think
Simons.
Kudus. I don't know if we'd see Kudus before Wolves.
If fit.
Yeah, and then up front, I don't know. It's interesting. I wonder whether he finds a way of getting Richarlison and Solanke in the team. Solanke did not look great for England tonight or the other night, and he's not looked great recently outside of the Champions League in that Man City game. I don't think he scored another goal outside of that Man City game. Maybe
Solanke?
one against Palace. He's not looked the sharpest. So yeah, I'll be interested in Tell. You got to get Tell in the team.
This is it.
Tell's got to play.
I'll be playing with a fit team. Kudos right wing, Simons in the middle, Tell left, and probably Solanke up front. Bergvall and Gray in the sort of deeper line too. I would probably go at this stage. I don't know why. I mean,
stick with your best players.
Romero, Van de Ven, and Udogie pick themselves.
Get on the front
it's a
foot.
real toss-up between Spence and Porro, in my view. I just think it is. I don't think Porro's done anything so much to really
Porro on the front foot with a team that hopefully going to have a bit more of the ball.
Yeah, in that instance, if you're thinking about it in that way, probably Porro. So I think for me, the team mostly picks itself. Look, guys, we've got the phone. It's 07375 928 256. We've had 3 lovely calls. Really nice to speak to you guys. I'll give it another minute or two. If the phone doesn't ring, then we will wrap it up. Italy out of 3 World Cups in a row Italy haven't made it to?
I believe Italy have not won a World Cup game since the 2006 final, which is a great stat. So it'll be 24 years at least that Italy have not gone. Imagine saying that in 2006 when they beat France. Italy will go nearly a quarter of a decade without winning another game.
Still, they beat England in the final.
Also, it's worth mentioning as well, Maddison has put another one of his videos out on YouTube.
Got a phone call. Let's cut you short there. Hang on. Hello, good evening. Welcome to An Echo of Glory. Who are we talking to?
Good evening, guys. My name's Adam.
Lovely to have you here, Adam. What would you like to say?
First of all, what time do you call this, boys?
Yeah, I know. It's a school night, isn't it? Terrible.
Just parked at the side of the A14 on a break.
Oh,
commitment. That's the commitment we need.
Going down to Brooklands to drop off people's Amazon orders for the evening.
Drive safe, and thank you for pulling over to call us. What do you want to say?
I'm very concerned about the captaincy. I think we've had problems defending and motivating the team ever since Romero's been around. I'm not sure how well he's influencing things at the moment. The situation kind of reminds me of when Poch was struggling in the first season, and we got that captaincy team of, was it Kabul?
Yeah.
And the other 2 players that were clicking with him as well.
It was Adebayor.
So I think heading into next season, at least, depending on what happens, obviously, with the drop, I think that's got to be under review big time.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, Adam, because you talk about next season, it's got to be under review. He's coming in. He's got 7 games from where he needs to get the maximum out of this team. Yeah. Does he keep Romero as captain at this point, do you think?
I mean, in my situation, I would pick Danzo over Romero for the rest of the season, because I just think Danzo hasn't made any mistakes or glaring mistakes. I think he leads by example anyway. He seems very outspoken compared to Romero. The only person I've ever seen Romero hang around with is Bentancur. Whenever you watch any of the videos, he's not mixing with any of the rest of the team. I just don't think he's got that team on side. I think they've given him the captaincy off the back of that new contract to keep his value.
You hear different things. So, for example, I've been hearing that one of the leaders in the changing room that's really been sort of having a go about the level of performance has been Romero. Certainly, you look at his performances in the Europa League last season, and he was a colossus. And there's no doubting that when he's on it and when he's motivated and when he really wants to be there, he's a top-class player. I wouldn't say world-class at all, but he's a top-class player. And I think for somebody like De Zerbi, who plays football, Romero is the best line-breaking passer from the back that we have, and maybe one of the best in the Premier League. But there's always going to be that question about his attitude and his hot-headedness, and can we actually rely on him, particularly at this stage of the season? I think.
Yeah, and when you talk about when he's motivated, that feels like it's 20% of the time.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? But you know what? Like we were saying earlier, can you imagine if you're Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven, and on Thursday you're going into training and Alessandro Nesta is in front of you? What does that do for you?
Yeah, no, I had the same reaction when I saw his name being bandied around. I thought that was a great opportunity. I'm not giving up on Van der Ven yet. I think that guy's still young.
Yeah.
And he's got mistakes in his game that he's making at the moment. I think he's going to be a great player, and technically, I think he's there as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity if we do get Mestre in. I think that's a really good opportunity for us again. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. But yeah, I agree with you. I think somebody with that stature coming in would have a massive influence. But I seriously worry about Romero still.
Yeah, I think everybody does, and I think.
And Vicario behind him as well. I don't think any of the team are having Vicario.
I think we need to be a little careful with Vicario, and we need to have some consideration for the fact that he has been playing for however long with a hernia, which just can't. I've absolutely slated his kicking on this show, but you sort of see the inconsistency with the kicking. You sort of think, well, maybe that is actually because it bloody hurts, right?
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to I feel a bit bad for how much I laid into Vicario previously. I want to sort of wind that back a bit and hope that in the next 7 games, if he's fit enough to play against Sunderland and plays the 7 games, I really hope that he actually steps up. But he will go in the summer. There's no doubt about that. Vicario will go. If we stay up, should Romero stay? Should he be captain next season? Is a really, really good question. But I do you know what I think, Adam? I think the big problem that we've got as a whole is that there is a lack of leaders in that squad, and that's really the biggest problem, and that could be one of the reasons why we are where we are.
And for me, the other thing that I've noticed, Gary, is we've always had like a batch of players all from the same country. So the Belgian contingent, the Argentines at one time, when we had all the Croatians all at the same time. We don't seem to have more than like a couple of people from the same place anymore. So I don't know whether that affects the dynamics or the game's just changed that much. We haven't got an English spine anymore like we used to, or a British spine. There just doesn't seem to be that massive amount of cohesion that you get from players that have come through the ranks together. Does that make sense?
You know, we had for a long time, for a period of time, we had Ollie Spiro on this show, and he would go on about that the whole time, about the lack of English players in an England squad. And keep in mind, Tottenham have provided the most number of English scorers to the English team. I think Spurs as a football club have more goals for England than any other club. So, Tottenham should always be synonymous. The Tottenham squad should always be synonymous with the England squad. And I think, you look at this England squad at the minute, I don't have much faith in them. And maybe it's because there isn't a core of a very good Tottenham team in there. So, and you're right, it's not a thought I'd previously thought about, but we had that sort of group of Croatians. The Belgians at the back were fantastic, with Moussa Dembele in midfield as well. You're right, maybe there is something in that. It's not something that I'd ever considered. I think it's a great shout.
Because they're all similar ages as well, so they came through national team, under 18s, under 16s all together as well. And it just doesn't feel like we have that anymore. Sending all those kids out is the right thing to do, is that the last caller absolutely was bang on with. But yeah, I'd just like to see a group of players that have kind of grown together a little bit, come into the first team a little bit more. I just don't. I think that's something that we're missing.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. And yeah, again, it's one of those where we'll see what happens throughout the remainder of this season. But I think this summer is going to be a massive turnaround in so many ways of what we do and where we go. Question for you before you go and before I let you get back onto your journey and your deliveries: staying up?
Staying up.
Are we staying up? Oh, come on, mate. A bit more confidence. Give me some hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be really tough, but ultimately, there's a lot of points to play for still. Is it 27?
21 points.
21 points. Yeah. So, there's still a lot of points.
But we've got Chelsea away, so 18 points.
I'd really like to upset Rory Jennings, to be fair.
Can you imagine?
He's really been lapping it up lately, so...
Can you imagine? Listen, so great of you to call us. Really appreciate it. You drive safe.
Cheers.
Take it easy. Be well. Call again. All the best. Take care. Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Just on the relegation thing, my dad, who is in Spain, he's not calling, but he's messaged me. Do you think 7 points will be enough to stay up?
No.
My sort of number that I had in my head was 10.
Well, we're a point clear, right? at the moment, how many will West Ham get? If you say
if we get 10 points,
they need
West
12.
Ham need 12.
They need 12
that
on
goal difference you'd hope now will not overturn. I know Forest are maybe ahead of us now, but I don't think it's just West Ham though as well. If we get 10, Leeds need 8 and Forest need 9 or 8. So if we get 10, you'd imagine, I don't think 7 will be enough, because I can see West Ham winning 3 games.
I think 8 keeps us up on goal difference. I think 9 sees us safe.
I think a lot of it will come down to the home games that West Ham, Leeds and Forest have got. Leeds have got to play Wolves and Burnley at home. West Ham have got to play Wolves, and Forest have got to play Burnley. West Ham have got Leeds as well. So that you feel like it's going to come down to the home games for all. If we can win our 3 home games, we should be all right. Because you'd imagine that we can pick up a point here or there at Sunderland or Wolves or even
Don't want to
Villa.
be going into Everton on the last day, though, do you? Very quickly.
Well, do you know what? Just on that, and I'd be interested to see what everyone else thinks. Would you take now needing to beat Everton on the final day to stay up?
Bloody hell! What? So it's in our hands.
Yes.
But we've
Bearing
got to
in
win.
mind, we might not have to win it because West Ham are playing Leeds on the final day. But would you take now? You beat Everton final day. I know the fault is a horrible fault because it would be awful in there. But would you take that now?
Before I answer, I'm going to say I think it's about 10 to 11. I think we've probably got time for one more call if somebody does want to do it. James taking the number off the screen. He's had enough. James, you going to put it back? No. All right. So maybe we're not taking any more calls unless somebody remembers the number. I certainly don't. Would I take... Listen, you got to think of it like this, right? If on the last day of the season we are not down and we're still in the fight, yeah, absolutely, right? And it's in our hands. At the same time, can we just fucking stay up before the last day of the season? Can we just get through? Can we just go and beat Sunderland, Wolves and Brighton and then, relax for the last 4 games of the season and start looking forwards? Like, I can't deal with this at the moment. But I do feel a lot more positive with De Zerbi coming in. I think it is a ray of light, a step in the right direction in every way. We haven't even discussed how the lack of disconnect from the board between their 10-point criteria that they narrowed down to Thomas Frank and then to go to the polar opposite in De Zerbi. I mean, that is the lack of joint-up thinking that has put us in this place. It's just all over the place. But by hook or by crook and with a little bit of luck, I think we have landed on a really, really promising, exciting coach that gives me a glimmer of hope that I definitely didn't have coming out the ground versus Forest. Jake, thanks so much for coming in tonight. It's late. We've got work tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, who called in. Thank you, for everybody, for commenting on the live stream and listening. I think we'll be back next week, pre-Southampton. And, have a good night, enjoy, and up the Spurs.